After a long and challenging deployment, Sergeant Alex Thompson was finally returning home. The tour of duty in Afghanistan had taken a toll on him, both physically and emotionally. As Alex walked through the airport in his uniform, the heavy bag slung over his shoulder made him feel tired and he just wanted to rest. He was thinking about how he was finally going to be able to reunite with his family. When he got on the plane, he saw that he had a seat in first class. The airline had probably made him a gesture because of his mission. He was grateful on the inside, but at the same time, he felt a bit out of place. The other passengers were business people and travelers dressed in smart attire. He'd just taken his seat when a man approached him. He looked angry and surprised. "Excuse me," he said, his voice impatient and rude. "I think you have the wrong seat. This is my seat." Alex looked at him, surprised. "I think there's been a misunderstanding," he replied, showing his ticket. "This is my seat, 2A. The man quickly looked at his ticket and then gave a grimace. "This is definitely a misunderstanding. You're a soldier, so you should be in coach. Not first class." Alex was angry, but he kept his cool. He'd faced prejudice many times before, but these situations were never easy. He took a deep breath and tried to stay calm. "I'm sorry, but this is my place." The man shook his head in a sarcastic manner. "This is unbelievable." "What are you doing here?" Alex was at a loss for words. The other passengers around him were looking at him. Some were looking at him with interest, while others were giving him a close examination. He was thinking of switching seats to avoid further discussion when the flight attendant came up to them. "Is everything okay?" the attendant asked in a calm but firm voice. The man gave a quick rundown of what was going on, but the flight attendant turned to Alex and said, "Sergeant Thompson, your seat is in first class. You're in the right spot," before turning to the man and adding, "Sir, your seat is 4A, a few rows back." The man blushed, but instead of apologizing, he angrily walked back and took his seat. Alex still felt a bit uncomfortable, even though the confusion had been resolved. The situation had brought up feelings that had been building up inside him for a while. Shortly after takeoff, Alex pulled out his notebook and started writing a note. The message was brief but to the point, and it made it clear to the other person what he was feeling. "Dear sir, I hope this message finds you well. I just wanted to correct the misunderstanding we had. I'm proud to serve my country. We need to focus on what unites us rather than what divides us. We're all in this together, and the kindness we show each other doesn't cost anything. I hope this message will give you a different perspective." Alex folded the note, gave it to the flight attendant, and asked her to deliver it to the man he had argued with. The attendant took the note and went to the row where the man was standing. The man looked a little confused as he took the note. As he read the note, his expression changed from bewilderment to confusion. Alex saw that the man was reading the note over and over, but he didn't think the man would respond. When the plane landed, Alex stood up to get his luggage, but this time the man approached him. His expression had changed. He looked more humble, almost regretful. He stood there with the note in his hand, unsure of what to say. "Sergeant Thompson," he began, his voice gentler this time. "I've been thinking about your note. I realized that I had been unfair to you. My judgment of you was based on my own prejudices. I'm really sorry." Alex could see that the man was sincere, and it helped calm his anger. "Thanks," he said quietly. "It takes a lot of courage to admit when we've made a mistake." The man paused for a moment, then held out his hand. "My name's Michael, and I'm grateful for your service," he said. "I lost my brother in Iraq. He was in the military, and I guess I was caught off guard when I saw you." Alex felt a surge of empathy. "I'm sorry for your loss," he replied in a sincere tone. "It's always tough to lose someone, especially in the line of duty." Michael nodded, his eyes brimming with tears. "Thanks," he said quietly. "And thanks for the reminder that we're all in this together." When they got off the plane, Alex and Michael walked together. This meeting, which started off with some tension, ended up with a surprising connection. As they made their way into the busy airport, Alex and Michael walked side by side for a few more steps. The silence seemed to say that they were at peace with each other. Michael took a deep breath and pulled a card from his pocket. "If you ever need anything, you know where to find me," he said, handing Alex the card. Alex smiled gently as he took the card and put it in his pocket. "Thanks a lot." "The same to you," he said. They briefly exchanged glances and gave each other a slight nod. Once Michael had gone, Alex picked up his suitcase and got ready to leave the terminal. But he still had that thing on his mind. All the prejudice, bullying, and disrespect he'd faced over the years came back to him. But this time it was different. Michael's change of heart was a glimmer of hope that things could change. As he was heading for the exit, he heard a voice. "Sergeant Thompson!" A group of people had gathered behind Alex. A woman and 2 kids were waiting for him, holding a banner. The banner read, "Welcome Hero," in big letters. This was Alex's family. Alex's heart started to beat faster. His mind went back to the unfortunate incident with Michael and all the memories he'd accumulated during his military service. However, these memories were replaced with a sense of relief and peace when he saw his family. He walked towards her family, tears in his eyes. His mother gave him a big hug, and his brother patted him on the shoulder. "You're back at last, my son," his mother said, tears in her eyes. "We missed you a lot." "I missed you too, Mom," Alex said, a little tired but happy to see her. His little nephews were checking out his uniform. He was a hero to them, which made Alex feel a little more at ease. As he left the airport with his family, Michael's words kept coming back to him. "We're all in this together." In that moment, he thought it wasn't so crazy to imagine a world free of prejudice, where people could live and let live. Even though they had different backgrounds, it was the things they had in common and their willingness to help each other that brought them together. He closed her eyes and took a deep breath. It had been quite a journey for her, both physically and emotionally. But now, he was finally home. As he spent time with her family, he knew that a fresh start was on the horizon. And at the heart of this new beginning was understanding and forgiveness. Alex was ready, even if he didn't know what tomorrow would bring. Where there's compassion and tolerance, there's hope. And this hope was his greatest asset going forward. The hostility he left behind that day, as he walked away from the airport, actually meant a chance for everyone. As Alex and his family headed back home, he felt a growing sense of peace. When he got back, the stress of war and long missions melted away in the warmth of home, where he was surrounded by his loved ones. When he got home, he was greeted by a table full of food and lots of loving faces. It made him realize once again how precious life is. As the night went on, Alex was lying in bed in his room. The room was quiet for a moment. Michael's words were still on his mind. Maybe the hardest fight wasn't on the front lines, but in people's minds against prejudice. Alex knew he was ready to win this battle, not just for himself, but for all of humanity. In the morning, the sun came in through the window. Alex woke up feeling optimistic about the day ahead. He believed that not only in his own life, but perhaps, thanks to people like Michael, other people around the world would come to the same realization. That day was a complete success for Alex, both physically and emotionally. His return wasn't just about being reunited with his family. It was also about remembering the common values of humanity, feeling the power of forgiveness, and growing with empathy. He wasn't sure what the future held, but he had a strong feeling that he would be able to overcome whatever came his way. And in that moment, he realized that what matters most in life is that everyone can find something we all have in common, despite our differences. That's the end of our story. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to be among the first to hear about new stories, please subscribe to my channel. If you like what you see, please click the like button and leave a comment. Thanks for listening. It was great chatting with you.